eventually you get absorbed in, and you are Sonic.
Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to a special end-of-year edition of No Repeat, where we'll be talking about our songs of the year for 2021. Joining me are my esteemed co-hosts, my collaborators, my celebrants, Tyler Reed.
This is where I do my elaborate cover of Auld Lang Syne, but it's still like early December.
And Sean Evans.
See, I was just wondering what my New Year's resolutions, if I've already ruined it yet.
How you doing?
I don't know.
It's a good point. We're recording a little bit ahead of time due to travel schedules, so it's still 2021 where we are, but you know. I forgot to say my name. I'm Taylor Olmstead. This is the end of year special. Lots of things going on. So the way this works, every year we do 3 roundup episodes for the end of the year. This is the third and final installment of the end of 2021, where we will be talking about what is, in our opinion, the song of 2021. Now, there are lots of ways to go about this. In the past, people have chosen the song that they thought captured the hearts and minds of the internet that year. They've picked their favorite songs. They've picked songs that were top of the charts. It just kind of depends. There's really no rule other than the song has to have come out in 2021. So with that being said, since we don't really have like a genre or a challenge to talk about, I thought we'd just kind of take a brief second to talk about the musical trends of the year and what we were seeing in the landscape. I know Tyler has really been pushing the bedroom pop angle really for the last 2 years, 18 months maybe, as kind of a industry narrative. And I gotta say, I really felt it this year. This felt like the year that bedroom pop went from an indie thing to like an everywhere thing.
The thing. Mm-hmm.
It's hard to quantify like what bedroom pop is, but it's like easy to say what it's not. Like Adele is not bedroom pop. That is like sophisticated pop music. Whereas like an Olivia Rodrigo, borderline bedroom pop. Not quite there. But then when you get down to something like, say, I don't know, give me an example, Tyler.
Okay, so I don't know if I specifically can give you a specific artist, but I will say I think what I've noticed as a trend is that I think Spotify has the audacity. They especially had the audacity this year where they just felt like they just made up a bunch of genres and just threw together whatever they wanted. Like, I think the biggest one was bubble grunge this year, and you're like, what? That makes no sense. And so they've listed that roughly as like indie punk, alternative emo, DIY emo, indie pop, small room, fifth wave emo, Midwest emo, whatever. And so that's like, you could say like, it has bands like Remember Sports, Charlie Bliss. It has Laura Stevenson, who is, okay. It has The Beths. Let's see, where there's a bunch of bands I know, like Soccer Mommy is technically bubble grunge in this example. You know, like Jeff Rosenstock is in here, and like Snail Mail's in here, like Crying, if you remember that. That band.
I mean, that all just sounds like alt rock to me.
Yeah.
Or like at best, like power pop, if we really want to like go back to basics.
Like Lucy Dacus is also on here, and you're like, that is
no, that's like singer-songwriter.
Yeah. But I will say that
I don't know. I guess for me, like the thing that separates maybe bedroom pop from whatever god-awful monstrosity bubble grunge is, or like singer-songwriter, is that it's very eclectic in its sounds. Like,
sure, yeah.
It's very much based in the like garage band era of like, you don't have to have real instruments. You can just use a MIDI keyboard on a laptop, and because of that, you can play with multiple genres even within the same song. Like, I typically think of a bedroom pop as being like, it is a pop song that sounds like 3 other genres within it, a lot of times in like phases. Like, it sounds like a punk song, and then it sounds like a pop rock song, and then it sounds like a rap song, and then it goes back to being a punk song or something. And I think that's another trend that I really noticed this year, is this like phased approach to songwriting, where like songs have clear sections that sound very different from one another, as opposed to maybe like the ramping effect that we had when everything in the world was following dubstep 10 years ago. Like, you're not hearing a lot of build, beat drop anymore, which is fine by me.
I probably should have listened to last year's episode because I don't remember saying bedroom pop as words at all. Maybe that was a whole year ago me that said that. But I think what I didn't expect, well, maybe I should have expected, but I feel like Phoebe Bridgers really took off this year. I feel like Punisher got a lot of speed, and she's just really been able to like put that, like use that album to be on everything, to be everywhere, to be on literally everyone's lips almost the entire year. And I really got to be like, like, good for her. Yeah, right. Like, she's been at this for a little bit. I think she's smart. I think she's got a good strategy. I mean, she has like her own label. And I feel like, and she also got a song with Taylor Swift. Like what? Like what? Like this was 2021 was her year. I feel like 2020 was rough for many reasons. So I feel like a lot of albums from 2020 got a re-release for this year, and I feel like that really enabled a lot of people who put albums last year to really sort of keep momentum going. So,
Sean, what trends were you noticing this year?
I feel like I've really been into indie lately. I feel like indie really had quite a year. There seems to be a lot more artists, and I feel like that's probably because there's a vacuum of things that, as of late, has been filled up a little bit. I should say the pool has not been that strong, and I think not a correlate, but like a parallel to that would be, like, I heard that Spider-Man, whatever the new Spider-Man is, had like the second biggest box office opener ever on Friday. Just given that it came out during the pandemic, the audiences are ready for superheroes. Like, Spider-Man already has a very developed franchise, but there's a lot of waiting that's been happening lately. And we talked about this last year with kind of like Oscar filling as well. I feel like just movies is a great way to talk about this too, but I feel like it's happening in music. There's a lot of people out there that are kind of sitting on stuff, knowing that they're not going to be able to go out on tour and make money off of it, because that's where artists make most of their money, not off Spotify. That's going to surprise everybody who listens to this, definitely. I feel like the upside of that is that because there's still an appetite for new music, that some of these littler known artists that would probably have just faded into the background have now found a lot more play, especially on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Music, and probably found their way into a bigger audience, not because they're touring, but because there's just like, there's more eyes looking for newer stuff like we are, right? If we're not consuming what's out there all the time, if Run the Jewels isn't putting out a new album like they do every year seemingly, now I have a little bit more bandwidth to find something that's a little bit deeper in the queue. So I think that's how I ended up not only finding some more indie artists, some more bedroom artists, which I saw a hilarious meme that was like somebody in their bedroom with a laptop and like a MIDI keyboard, and it was like every artist in 2021.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's this bedroom thing? I'm gonna do this. This is great. Yeah, so I just feel like there's just a lot of pull for that right now. There's a lot of interesting voices that are out there that are actually seizing the day, getting a good opportunity to make something here that's not just that wouldn't be just relegated to the smaller fans or smaller venues. You're actually getting some attention, and that's good. I appreciate that. Not that I'm saying like, oh, Tame Impala really like hogs the spotlight or something like that. It's more so that there are other freak folk psychedelia Americana bands that might have filled the void there, which is cool. Get a little audience. I think it'll be fun coming out of the pandemic and seeing who the openers are for a lot of the bigger bands. It will probably be a bunch of new artists that maybe have been around for a while, but their music is really kind of starting to get itself into a position of notoriety.
Yeah, I think the festival circuit of 22 if we have one, and certainly by 23 it's going to be a bunch of new names, and that'll be really fun.
Because it's also going to be people leaving the industry as well. So
yeah, there is also that.
But yeah, I feel like I definitely did note that I felt like I definitely tried to keep track of, like New Music Friday. I had historic usually around this time I get very tired of booting that up every week and listen to a bunch of new stuff. I kind of fall back on some defaults at a certain point, but I think also everyone at this point is kind of wait till the new year for something to kind of come out. But yeah, I mean,
well, yeah, because now we're in best of season, and oh my god, to Sean's point, the best ofs this year are just full of stuff I've never even heard of, and like I'm finding so much cool stuff. Like I think I've read probably 10 best of the year lists in the last month, and every single time I find an artist I've never heard of who put out an album that is absolutely incredible, and I'm like, where have you been all year? Like, how did this not get through to me? And it's just because there's so much out this year.
Nobody said anything out loud. I think Pop Matters had a really good list that I noticed.
I really like that one too.
Yeah, it had a lot of stuff that I felt like I said, it's a lot of stuff that I had not heard before, and I think it's I think they gave Will Sims the #1 spot, which
Love
is
that
like
record.
which I'm like, all right, well, and gave Arlo Parks #4, which is also like, okay, time to listen. And Floating Points and Pharoah Sanders, the album Promises, has been like the jazz album everyone's been talking about, and you're welcome, everyone at home, because I listened to it, and it's never going on this playlist because you'll have to listen to the whole thing. You have to listen to it as a complete experience.
Yeah, I'll also shout out the Paste magazine list, which had some indie stuff on it that I hadn't seen anywhere else. I was really interested to see how, like, albums that some pubs really loved this year, others, like, totally hated on. Like, we, in Billy Joel Armstrong's Middle School Notebook last month, were kind of rough on Snail Mail's new record, Valentine. But there were a couple publications that put it in their top 5, and then others that had it at, like, number 40 out of 50. And I'm like, wow, what a statement to the year that we've had, that, like, even an artist that is, like, solidly middle of the road in the indie scene is getting such disparate reviews.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Year. I mean, that's I think that's better than everyone having the same list, because I feel like a lot of times, like in the games industry, it's very samey. I feel like there's usually not a lot of surprises.
Well, even like 2 years ago, you look at like 2019 and Lord's Melodrama was at like the top of every single list, which it was a great record, but like that and Lana's Norman fucking Rockwell like dominated that whole year. And this year we just didn't really have that, like Sean said. And we had 2 records from Lana and a record from Lorde.
Well, that being said, I feel like there's been some big profile albums that have come out that I just haven't, that just sort of went down.
Yeah, I think the Lana albums in particular did that for me. Like, Blue Bannisters is obviously just not very good, but Chemtrails Over the Country Club I kind of like loved when it came out and forgot about. And I re-listened to it this week and I'm like, wow, this is a great record that like in any other year would have been a huge deal, but it feels like we all just kind of forgot that it happened. Well, I guess we should go ahead and get into some picks. Does anybody feel strongly about going first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
All right, Sean, what was your best song of the year?
So this year, I should say at least towards the end, my favorite song was Chaise Lounge by Wet Leg.
Is your mother worried? Would you like us to assign someone to worry your mother? Excuse me.
What?
Excuse me.
What?
Hey, you in the front row. Are you coming backstage after the show? Because I've got a chaise lounge in my dressing room and a pack of warm beer that we can consume.
So I feel like this song does kind of fall into a bedroomy pop kind of sound. Wet Leg is not a new band. They've been around for a little bit of time. But I feel like this song has really fun lyrics. I feel like this song has a up tempo for not having a lot going on. Like a lot of the verse is just bass and drums doing like 4 on the floor. But I feel like I found myself remembering the lyrics for this song a lot. I just think I love the idea of assigning somebody to butter your muffin. I just feel like that's such an ingenious line. And it stuck with me like ever since I heard this song. I felt like I've yelled it at people on bike races, like butter that muffin, you know, like I don't know, it just works. I think went to school and got the big D. It's funny, like it's a funny song.
So we talked about Sparks last week, and I feel like this definitely follows in the tradition of Sparks of like writing a weird song that's full of sexual innuendo over a very catchy beat. Bob Boilen over at NPR's All Songs Considered listed this his number 2 song of the year.
Whoa!
Second only to Montero, Call Me By Your Name by Lil Nas X.
You know, I'll take it. That ain't bad.
High praise from Mr. Boylan, whose taste I always admire. And I have to say, it has a very, like, chats-like viral quality to it. Like, it was a song that I heard about before I ever actually heard it. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, I get it. This song is perfect for this year. It's, like, funny, double entendre, bringing back a classic garage rock sound. And it's definitely got a, like, real viral video sensibility about it. Like, they are smart, these girls in Wet Leg. And the crazy thing is, this track came out as a single in June, and the album still isn't even out. It comes out in April 2022, which is also a very 2021 thing to do. To have an album cycle that is almost a year long. Like, just slow drip it, baby. I can't wait to hear the full length. If it's anything like this, I'm sure it's going to be one of my records of the year next year.
Yeah, this is the most Sean-ass song I've ever heard in my life. I feel like this is... I put it on immediately, and I was like, yeah, this makes sense. It's got a boogie beat. You know, that bass just goes, and then that guitar is crunchy. It's kind of grungy, you know? And it's got a really good energy. Feels like you can run to it. Feels like you can power walk to it. You know, it's like a little dumb, and that's just what you need. You just it's catchy, but it's dumb. It's like a himbo if a himbo was a song. But no, yeah, surprisingly catchy for a song that is about nothing.
It's clearly about getting your muffin buttered.
Or
yeah. It's about getting.
She just wants you to lay on that chaise longue all day.
Well, I think the other one too is assigning
you.
somebody to worry your mother. This is like a hilarious concept of like
that line
having
is
a team
so
of people out there
funny.
To just do your stuff. Like, yeah, we can assign somebody to do that. Yeah, like, what do you need done? Muffins buttered? We got somebody for that. We can assign somebody for that.
Such extreme opulence for yeah.
And especially with the nonchalant, like, delivery.
Like,
there's something about the weird, like, monotone of it that I really love.
Yeah, I mean, if you have that much money, I mean, who needs to care? You know, it's I got more money than you. What, you know, anti-pop right now. This is what I'm doing.
Could you just imagine like somebody, like a singing telegram, like walking up to your parents' front door and like knocking on it and like opening up a card and being like, "Yes, hi, I'm from the I'm from the agency, and I'm here to worry you. Sean is
Your child is off having unprotected sex.
He's late for work.
He's been on this chaise longue all day. I don't think he's actually going to his job or like exercising or drinking enough water."
Just to see if they can get the Titanic reference. Just to be like, oh, okay.
He's being painted like one of those French girls.
One of those French girls. See, that would concern my mother. She'd be like a French girl? What does that mean?
Just you wait, Mrs. Evans, just you wait. Well, Tyler, why don't you go next?
This year, I chose What I Need by Pearl Charles.
And it's easier to live this lie than to tell the truth. Oh, baby, I don't wanna lose you. Tired of living in between. Oh, baby, I don't wanna lose you. Maybe that's what I need. That's what I need. That's what I need.
So Pearl Charles has a sort of assumed the identity of a cosmic cowboy for the album Magic Mirror. And the first track I heard was actually the first song off this album, called Only for Tonight, which is a really good ABBA pastiche. Like, it is surprisingly close to ABBA, how it is. And then What I Need immediately follows up this song. And so, what's really fun is that, the first song is very glitzy, is glamour, it's a lot of, high budget, feels like. And so then we immediately go into What I Need. And it sort of feels personal. It feels like we've now sat down, we're at a small bar, the band is tightly packed in, and you feel like you can just hear like all of these instruments just almost inside of you, inside your ears. And, I feel like I heard this song and I was like, have you ever been in love with a voice? And I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, God, this is just this vocal performance just absolutely slays me. It is understated, but it goes places that really just strikes a chord with me. It strikes my soul. I just think that her voice is just immaculate. And so when you take that, and then I think the other part then sort of really excites me, and this sort of it follows throughout this album, is that there is a keyboard player, a synther, whatever's kind of going on there, and they are just sort of like boogieing alongside. Like Pearl is clearly in charge of this here, but like he is like sort of like perfectly in sync, and it just feels like he's always like they're always like adding like an accent to the song, like always sort of like adding a little flourish, and it just sort of like it's like, ooh, it's a little extra treat at certain points. It's not commanding the attention, but like if you're like actively listening, you can really hear it, and it really it's just another level of excitement. And so I think sort of pairing this sort of the synth with this steel guitar, and I think having it like references that era, the early 70s, before like real like sort of like rock and roll country sort of took off, and it's just sort of has a sort of like realness, for earthiness, very salt of the earth. So I feel like there's a lot of different kind of flavors kind of being mixed together, and it's almost like a real like a salty chocolate, like it's bitter but it's sweet, and I don't know. I think this song just is just beautiful in what it does.
I was really surprised that this was your pick and not Sean's.
Oh, I love it though.
It seems like something that he would be into, because I know, yeah, exactly, because I knew that he like has a soft spot for country, and I have to say, this makes me, oh yeah, he's definitely pushed the country onto both of us. This makes me want to pour a big tall glass of bourbon and put this record on tonight, which I may yet do, depending on how the night takes me. It's beautiful. It's, like you said, understated, but it still goes places, which is very hard to do, right? Like, I think we sometimes get obsessed with like a belty performance where somebody's like going for it, like in the Adele kind of way, or the Brittany Murphy from Alabama Shakes kind of way. And I love those performances, but sometimes you need to just kind of reel it in. And the way that Pearl has kind of held her cards close to her chest, but is still giving you just enough emotion to drive the song forward, it's really beautiful, and it really fits well with the theme of this song of like knowing that the relationship is over and having thought it over and decided, as hard as this is, it's what I need to do. And that's such a cool way to write a breakup song. Like, it belies a kind of maturity that I think is expressed in the song as well, but musically. Like, everything in this has clearly been thought over and pondered, and now you're at the end result. And that's just really like interesting. It's like this is the bow that's tied on a whole bunch of trauma, which is kind of cool.
Call it country, call it whatever you want, but I think that the reason that Tyler was immediately attracted to this song, if I'm going off my 10-second rule, is because when it opens up, it does have a very electronic ABBA kind of sound. That like, doom, 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 doom. Like I totally see Tyler kind of like being like, oh, I like that. Oh yeah. It's like a first impression thing. You come in and you're like, blue hair? Oh, I'm totally into that. Oh yeah. I know your type. We're not too different, you and I.
Oh no.
She changed the color of her hair. Sorry. I love the slide guitar. I like the soft vocals. I like the wispy drum sounds. I like the chorus line in there. The like, ho, 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 ho. It's just, there's just so much about this. This is what I mean when I was talking earlier about how this year has just been full of artists that you've never heard of. And Taylor totally said it too. And he was like, all the 2021 like hits of the year. I'm like, I have never heard these people. This is a 150 song playlist of 3 people that I've heard of. And every single one of these is good. Like, what the hell? I'm supposed to be on top of these things. We're supposed to know. We do a whole podcast about it. This isn't our
Tastemakers.
5th one. This is our 162nd one of this one. Should have some understanding.
Well, speaking of people who just kind of came onto our radar this year, my pick for Song of the Year is Serotonin by Girl in Red.
Please don't let me go crazy. Put me in a field with daisies. Might not work, but I'll take a maybe. Been breaking daily, but only me can save me. So I'm capitulating, crying like a freak baby. I don't wanna miss a bala. I don't wanna be cicada. I don't wanna I'm running low on serotonin. Chemical imbalance got me twisting things. Stabilized with medicine. There's no death.
So as the TikTok memes would say, I didn't know who Girl in Red was before this because I'm not a queer woman. I am a queer man, though, and I have lots of queer friends. And so as soon as I discovered this song, all of my queer lady friends were like, you haven't been listening to Girl in Red for the last 5 years? I was like, no, I've never heard of this person. Girl in Red is the performance name of Marie Oven, a singer-songwriter from Norway. And this track, Serotonin, was released really early this year, like the first week of March. It's got some production by Phineas, the brother of Billie Eilish, as well as Matthias Tellez. There's a great song exploder on it that I'll link in the show notes. I have come back to this song so much this year because I feel like it's kind of perfect for this moment in that it melds a lot of genres. It's got kind of a trappy hip-hop verse and then like a pop-punk chorus, which you know I'm a sucker for, a la Kenny Hoopla. But then it's also a great depiction of mental health and anxiety and depression, and talking about how you're running low on serotonin and you're scared of the thoughts inside your head. And when you listen to the song exploder, she talks about how it's this weird like contrast when you're working on your mental health of like feeling these intense emotions, but knowing like cognitively that it's just chemicals in your brain. And yet you still can't stop feeling those things. And like you take pills and you do therapy to do those things, but like sometimes your brain chemicals just aren't right. And so like, what do? Well, you just kind of get through it. And I think that's what makes this song so cool is like, it's got that duality to it, but it keeps on pushing. It pushes really hard and really fast until you get to that huge climactic outro with that big like Phineas synth sound that he made so popular on Billy's first record. Like, I don't know. It's just really gripping. And the lyrics are really relatable. And I don't know. I just like, I can't get it out of my head this year.
Okay. I like the song. I think it's really good. I myself am a little leery about putting like scientific explanations into lyrics just because I feel like it always kind of taints your lyrics a little bit. Like, I don't know. That's just like...
Interesting.
It's not like... And it's not saying that it's wrong. I'm not saying that her lyrics are wrong, but it's like, what happens in 5 or 6 years when that comes out that it's not correct or that it was underdeveloped or something? I feel like sometimes when you add science into your lyrics, you kind of open it as an explanation for something, and it's like an acceptance, and it might not always be the case. That's not a critique. That's me speaking for who I am. I'm totally down for using like physical theories and stuff like that as in your lyrics and stuff like it's just a little, I don't know, for me it's a little odd to say like it's a chemical imbalance and that's what it is, because I think the understanding is that it's a chemical imbalance. That's what I also think as well, but it just feels a little, I don't know.
I can't wait for Sean's 20-minute epic where he explains the law of gravity in extreme detail.
So I don't know. I think it's really good though. I think the song is really good. I love her voice. I love how her verses go, like how her rhythm with her verse is really good. I feel like this year over the summer, my sister-in-law, what did she describe? The genre of lesbian rock. And I heard it in another conversation earlier this year,
This is definitely that.
which was like, it wasn't lesbian rock, it was cry girl music. And that was used in a very flattering way, because after that, it was like basically all these bands that I listened to all the time. And I was like, yeah, that's me. Oh, sad girl music. It was, oh yeah, this guy was like, I'm into metal, but also I'm really into sad girl music. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. I was like, I'm totally into sad girl music. Like, I love that stuff. I love all the emotional openness and feelings and stuff like that. It's great, and so that's what I mean. I don't want to like totally say, oh yeah, because you put science on here as an explanation, it's gonna like it just. I feel like it just dates your songs a little bit, right? Like I want subtlety. I feel like that's why I like the quote unquote sad girl music, is because it has like, it's very arty. It's very, very poetic. It has subtlety, and I like that. So yeah, hit or miss here. Mostly hit.
Yeah, just to kind of follow up with that, I feel like at a certain point, I don't know, there's at a certain point in my life, I just kind of stopped needing to hear dudes' opinions about women. Like I feel like there's like just like a lot of songs that were just like from bands I was listening to. It's just like, man, girls suck. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I think I just would like a little cleanse here. So you could be a little more interesting about this. Anyway, Detour. So, I feel like I'd listened to Girl in Red before. We Fell in Love in October was the song that I had saved from before. This feels like a big detour. Have you listened to the album that was on, Taylor? Or I guess that's just a single.
Yeah, that was just a single. And then I listened to this song and, fell in love with it. But when I listened to the full album, it didn't all really sound like this. And to be honest, a lot of it wasn't as good in my opinion.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I think this is probably one of those examples of like collaborated with the right people at the right time on a good single, and then the album is for the heads.
Sure. Okay, so this is sort of like, you're like, I'm going to keep this song just for me, and then you're going to kind of skip the rest. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I gave the album a solid 2 like full-length passes, and I was like, nope, this is the only one that stands out.
It's okay, you can just add this to a playlist, it's fine. Anyway, so I don't know, I feel like I've been like loosely interested in Girl in Red just because I feel like it's a name I've seen tossed around that I haven't really like actively like acknowledged their existence yet. But yeah, I think this totally makes sense for you as like your pick for the year, because like you'd already said, there's been like a trap pop punk focus this year, and I think that was something I probably would not have expected to be the trend that would sort of like rise up. But I think it's breathing more life into the genre than Blink's doing right now. So I'll take what I can get. I do like the take on this. I think it's pretty cool. And I definitely think it goes beyond just like pop punk and like trap beat, because you're right, it does go into like a space. There's a lot of built, like a lot of kind of what you were saying. What is that?
Big. Yeah,
about like the 2 minute 30-second mark, where it's just like feels like you're in like you're going through space, like an ambient track almost for like a brief moment, and that's like cool. Like I like that it's going places, and that's kind of what you were saying at the beginning. about how we're kind of like playing with like a lot of like genre and like phases a little bit. And I would say this is also what I like about sort of like the sad girl genre, is that I feel like they're not afraid to like not make it all about the vocal delivery and have a lot of other things kind of happening and build the space in a lot more interesting ways. And I feel like this song does that very well. I feel like it really hits you in the front half, and you know, it kind of feels like it need to overstay its welcome in the vocal delivery. And I think you're right. I think that her sort of like mixing of different sort of like vocal styles is interesting and adds a lot of extra texture that I think is really fun. So yeah.
All right, now it's time for B-sides. These are songs that were very close to being that song for 2021 for us in some way or another. Didn't quite get there, but are probably still very awesome songs.
I mean, we talked a lot about it at the intro, and so because of that, I'm just going to rapid fire through because there's so dang many. Corso by Tyler, the Creator. That whole record is incredible front to back. White Dress by Lana Del Rey. Woman by Little Sims. Love that record. Be Sweet, Japanese Breakfast. Tyler turned me on to that, and he was totally right. Pay Your Way in Pain by St. Vincent. Stop Making This Hurt from Bleachers, probably the best song on that otherwise just okay record. And then I really thought about it. I really did, because as memey as it was, Montero, Call Me By Your Name by Lil Nas X is a bop. It's a bop.
It's pretty good.
And he's won Song of the Year on this show before. But I was like, no. Girl in
You're
Red.
right.
But yeah, because he got Song of the Year for Old Town Road 2 years ago, and just about followed it up with Call Me By Your Name, but had to go with the gays.
I mean, even Injury Baby would have been a good pick too. Yeah. Every part of me wanted to pick Bunny as a Writer by Caroline Polachek. That song is a heater.
It's also at the top of a lot of best of the year lists.
Yeah. It's also a Whistle song. Whistle's coming back, baby. But also, what was it? Hold on. Look at the Sky by Porter Robinson. That's but I didn't pick it because I probably would have cried talking about it during the show, and I decided that was not. Ain't doing it on this show. Not yet. We gotta get some more Patreon subscribers before I can cry on camera. Otherwise, we really skipped out on Silk Sonic. Really, we kind of picked the really big bop from that one. Let's see what. Yeah, and like I said, Japanese Breakfast had that. I probably, I feel like I loved that album, but I don't know if there was a specific song that would be like, this is the best song on this album. It's just good. It's consistent, but it's not like it feels weird to be like, this wasn't a best song. It could be a best album, but I don't know. So that's kind of where I end up being at.
I'm just gonna stick with the one that I put on here. Going back to last episode a little bit, I generally just, what if I like it, it ends up on here. I think Spotify said that 21st Century Hobby was my favorite song for the year. That would probably be on here, but I already put it on the show, so a little hard to wind that back up, but you get where I'm going with it.
All right, well, Tyler, if people want to celebrate the new year with you, where can they do that?
Hey, everybody, you can find my design and illustration work at rudepets.club, and as always, find me on socials as Rude Pets Club on Instagram and Twitter.
Sean, if people want to pop some bottles with you, where can they do it?
You can find me on Instagram at TallySean.
And if you want to wear one of those silly cardboard New Year's party hats with me, you can find me on the socials at TC Olmstead. And we'll be back in the new year with more episodes of No Repeat.